Imagine for a moment how much of our daily frustration is rooted in this one thing. We spend so much energy trying to control what was never meant to be under our control. We want people to talk to us the way we think they should. We want the world to line up with our expectations. We want life to go according to our script. And when it doesn't, when people fail us, when circumstances shift, when someone throws words we didn't deserve, we let anger write the story of our response. The problem isn't that life is chaotic. The problem is that we try to grab hold of things we cannot hold, and in doing so, we let go of the only thing we can control, ourselves. That's why cultivating inner peace begins with this simple but radical shift: control your response, not the world. You can't stop someone from being disrespectful. You can't prevent people from cutting you off in traffic, spreading gossip, or misunderstanding you. But you can stop them from deciding what kind of person you will be in that moment. The real battlefield of anger isn't out there. It's in here, in the space between stimulus and response. Psychologists have long studied this idea of response control. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, put it beautifully: between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is everything. The person who cuts you off in traffic provides the stimulus. Your response is the story you tell yourself in the next 2 seconds. You could slam the horn, yell out of the window, and carry that rage into your day. Or you could take a breath and remind yourself, I refuse to give a stranger the authority to ruin my peace. Same situation, 2 radically different outcomes, both decided not by the world but by you. Anger tricks us because it feels powerful in the moment. When we explode, we feel like we're asserting ourselves, like we're standing up for something. But the truth is, anger often signals the opposite. It shows we've handed over our self-control to someone else. Think about it: when you get angry because of someone else's behavior, who's really in charge? Not you. They pushed the button, and you reacted exactly how they wanted. Inner peace, on the other hand, is not weakness. It's the strength of knowing that no matter what someone else does, they cannot dictate the state of your heart. Now, this doesn't mean you suppress anger. Suppression only buries it deeper, where it eventually leaks out in destructive ways. It means you redirect it. You give yourself permission to feel the emotion without letting it govern your actions. Picture yourself like a thermostat instead of a thermometer. A thermometer simply reacts to the temperature. It goes up when it's hot and down when it's cold. A thermostat sets the temperature. It creates the environment. That's what choosing your response is about. It's about saying, I decide the emotional climate of my life, not the chaos around me. Let's make this practical, because philosophy only matters if it touches real life. Imagine you're in a conversation and someone throws an insult at you. The automatic response is to fire back, to match their disrespect with your own. But that response only validates them. Instead, try pausing. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want here? If the outcome is to maintain your dignity, to walk away with peace, then the angry response doesn't serve you. It may feel satisfying for 5 seconds, but it steals from you the thing you say you want: calm. Choosing your response isn't about letting someone else off the hook. It's about keeping yourself off the hook of unnecessary anger. Here's another example. You're at work and a colleague undermines you in a meeting. The anger rises instantly. You feel disrespected, overlooked, maybe even humiliated. In that moment, control your response. Instead of snapping back and escalating conflict, take note of your emotion and buy yourself time. You might say calmly, I'd like to circle back to that point after the meeting. What you've just done is powerful. You've acknowledged the moment without letting anger dictate your reaction. You've protected your peace while still holding your ground. That is control in action. This practice requires discipline. Anger is easy, it comes without effort. But peace requires intentionality. It asks you to build habits that create distance between what happens and how you react. Breathing techniques, mental reframing, even physically stepping away from a heated moment. These are not small things. They are ways of reclaiming that vital space between stimulus and response. Over time, you train your mind to recognize, I don't have to attend every argument I'm invited to. I don't have to carry every insult someone throws my way. I can choose. There's also a deeper philosophical layer here. Anger often comes from the illusion that we are owed something by the world, that life should conform to our desires. But peace comes from humility, from realizing the world doesn't bend to us, and it doesn't have to. Once you accept that people will disappoint you, that strangers will be rude, that circumstances will often defy your script, you stop being surprised by it. And when you stop being surprised, you stop reacting with anger. You start responding with calm resolve. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who seem unshakable, the ones you look at and think nothing rattles them. Are they immune to conflict? No. They've simply mastered the art of response. They don't give away their emotional power cheaply. They've learned that peace is not a gift others hand you. It's a choice you make in every moment, especially when the moment is hardest. If you want to cultivate inner peace and stop getting angry, start here, shift the target of your control. Stop aiming at the world, aim at yourself. Every insult, every inconvenience, every moment of tension is not a test of the other person's character. It's a test of yours. Will you let the world pull you into its chaos, or will you anchor yourself in your own calm? That is the choice we face every single day. And the truth is, your peace isn't stolen, it's surrendered. If you can choose to give it away in a moment of anger, you can also choose to guard it with strength. And once you realize that, you never see anger the same way again. So the next time life provokes you, and it will, remember this, you may not control the world, but you always control your response. And in that response, you either lose yourself or you find your freedom. Choose wisely. Most of the anger we carry doesn't come from what people actually do. It comes from what we expect them to do. We build these silent contracts in our minds. People should respect me. They should understand me. They should treat me fairly. They should love me the way I want to be loved. And when reality doesn't match that picture, we feel betrayed, disappointed, and then angry. But here's the truth that can feel harsh at first, but is incredibly freeing. Once you grasp it, people don't owe us their perfection. The world doesn't owe us alignment with our expectations. And our peace doesn't have to be chained to the behavior of anyone else. This is where detachment enters the conversation. And let me clear something up right away. Detachment is not indifference. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop loving. And it doesn't mean you disconnect from life. It means you stop clinging. You stop tying your inner calm to external conditions that you cannot control. Detachment is freedom because it says, I can care about you deeply, but I don't need you to act a certain way for me to have peace. My state of mind isn't held hostage by your choices. Think of it this way. Imagine holding a glass of water in your hand. If you grip it too tightly, eventually your hand cramps, it aches, and you can't enjoy the simple act of holding it anymore. That's attachment. Detachment is loosening your grip, still holding, still valuing, but not in a way that harms you. You enjoy what you have while you have it, and when it changes, you don't break apart with it. That's why detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. One of the main reasons we get angry is because we carry rigid pictures in our heads of how things should be. People should always be kind. Friends should always be loyal. My partner should always understand my feelings without me having to explain them. But the moment reality diverges from the picture, we feel robbed. That's when anger surges in because attachment says, I cannot be at peace unless the world looks exactly like this. Detachment, on the other hand, whispers, I can still be at peace even when the world looks different than I hoped. Philosophers have wrestled with this idea for centuries. The Stoics taught that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. Buddhism speaks of attachment as the root of suffering, not because desire itself is wrong, but because clinging to desire creates disappointment when life inevitably changes. Across traditions, the wisdom converges. You cannot stop the waves of life, but you can stop chaining your peace to their rhythm. So how does this play out practically? Let's say someone you care about ignores your call. Attachment makes you angry because your picture says, if they cared, they would answer. Detachment allows you to recognize their behavior is theirs. My peace is mine. I can choose not to interpret this as a rejection of me. That choice doesn't mean you stop caring about the relationship. It means you don't let one unanswered call decide your emotional state. Another example, at work, you pour yourself into a project and it goes unnoticed. Attachment says, they should value me. They should recognize my effort. That should is the breeding ground of anger. Detachment says, I value my effort, and their recognition or lack of it doesn't define my worth. Do you see the difference? One response locks you into resentment. The other frees you to keep your peace while still caring about your work. Now, I want to make something clear. Detachment doesn't mean passivity. It doesn't mean you never address problems or never set boundaries. In fact, it makes you better at both, because when you're detached, you're not reacting out of anger, you're responding out of clarity. You can correct someone, you can set limits, you can even walk away from toxic people, but you do it from a place of strength rather than desperation. You're not trying to force the world into your picture, you're simply choosing not to let the world dictate your inner calm. Think about relationships. Many of us equate love with attachment. We think love means clinging, controlling, or needing the other person to behave exactly as we wish. But that isn't love, that's dependency. Real love is free. It says, I care about you, but I don't need to control you. I want the best for you, but my peace doesn't collapse if you fail to meet my expectations. That kind of love is lighter, stronger, and far less fragile. And it's only possible when you've practiced detachment. What's powerful about detachment is that it makes you more resilient to the chaos of life. Disappointments don't hit you as hard because you no longer demand that life fulfill your every script. You stop saying, this person must act this way for me to be okay. Instead, you start saying, no matter how this person acts, I choose to remain okay. That's not coldness, that's maturity. Let me give you a metaphor. Think of your peace like a house. Attachment is when you leave the front door unlocked and let anyone walk in and rearrange the furniture. Every rude comment, every unmet expectation, every disappointment, they come in, and suddenly your whole house is in chaos. Detachment is locking the door. It says, you can knock, you can shout, but you don't get to rearrange my inner world. This house is mine to guard. That's not indifference, that's ownership. And here's the beauty of it. Once you stop giving away the keys to your peace, anger doesn't find a foothold. People will still disappoint you. Life will still be unpredictable. But instead of reacting with frustration every time, you'll find yourself saying, it's okay. This doesn't have to take my calm away. That doesn't mean you approve of bad behavior. It means you refuse to let it rent space in your soul. So when you hear detachment, don't picture distance. Picture freedom. Freedom from being pulled like a puppet by everyone else's actions. Freedom from constantly demanding life match your script. Freedom from the endless cycle of anger that comes from unmet expectations. Detachment allows you to care deeply, to love strongly, and still remain centered in your own peace no matter what happens around you. And here's the part worth holding on to. Most of what steals your peace never actually had the power to take it. You handed it over by clinging too tightly. The moment you loosen your grip, you realize the peace you thought was lost was never gone. It was only buried under expectations. Detachment uncovers it again. So if you want to stop getting angry, stop making your calm dependent on conditions you can't control. Care, yes. Love, absolutely. But don't cling. Because when you stop handing your emotions to the world, you finally take them back for yourself. And that's the irony. The less you demand from people, the more you're able to enjoy them. The less you tie your peace to their actions, the more space you create for authentic connection. That's the paradox of detachment. The moment you stop needing the world to fit your picture, you're finally free to see it clearly and to love without fear. So the next time you feel anger rising because someone didn't do what you thought they should, remind yourself detachment is not indifference. It's freedom. And peace is never found in controlling others. It's found in releasing them.